Doing pretty good, buddy.
Yeah? Good, good. I'm already recording, is that right?
Yeah, it's fine. Season's greetings, buddy.
Season's greetings. Tom Cochrane, this is great. From a Canadian icon, that makes me feel good.
There you go, buddy.
I wanted to bug you a little bit about, I'm really looking forward to, speaking of Season's greetings, huge show coming up, New Year's Eve, December 31st in Toronto at the Great Canadian Casino Resorts. And I don't know, I'm assuming it feels good for you to be back here, but I kind of look at things a little bit fascinating because you have a little bit of history in Toronto with, like, you kind of started there. You were a cab driver there, believe it or not, and worked the coffee houses and whatnot, and even ran into Red Rider there. How does it feel now that you're 70? Have you ever thought that you're going to be on stage in Toronto at this time at New Year's Eve at current day?
No, to be honest with you, Jay, I didn't think I'd be alive at 70, much less still
really
doing shows and putting bodies in the seats. But we just did a run out west here. This was an acoustic run, which I really enjoyed doing with Bill Bell. So you talked about the coffee house days, so it's kind of a throwback to that, and get to tell a lot of stories. And we actually played quite a bit longer. But it was sold out, and it's just wonderful that people are still coming out. As long as people are coming out, and we can put those warm bodies in the seats and put some smiles on their faces, then I'll keep doing it.
Yeah,
it's kind of what I do. My dad always said to me way back when, he said, Tote, that was my nickname. He said, you're making a living at your hobby, so you're blessed, man. So just enjoy it and do it for as long as you can. So yeah, I'm very privileged to be able to do it, and luckily, knock on wood, I'm in pretty good shape. So it's a lot of fun. Yeah,
for sure. I really think that you were blessed, just like your dad said, that you're able to do this as your career. Like, or was it always a career? I mean, you did drive cab, but I mean, was it always the goal to do music?
Yeah, I mean, I think early, there's certain crossroads you come to.
Yeah.
To coin a Robert Johnson phrase, but where you decide that all right, we're going to go in this direction. I mean, you start out, you really don't think, you think, it's a lot of fun, and everybody's doing it. When I started out in junior high, it's a lot. Everybody was in a band. The Beatles were around. It was that British invasion period. The Beatles, the Stones.
Yeah.
And then I got into Bob Dylan. That was a big change for me. Bob Dylan, Neil, Gordon, of course, Lightfoot, and picked up the acoustic guitar and started to get more serious. And I realized that songwriting could be more than just simple pop songs. You could tell stories in the songs that you could really kind of explore some different terrain and ideas. And so I thought, at that point, yeah, I'm gonna ride this as long as I can. And I, initially wanted to be a journalist and possibly a pilot. And then I ended up, playing a bunch of coffee houses one summer, and it became the endless summer, and I kept doing it. But, you've got those periods where you run into, it's not always that easy, right? And so you got to make ends meet. And it's a bit sobering when you start to play a lot of clubs and that, and some of them are pretty rough.
For sure.
And you're trying to play original songs, and people want to hear, they're throwing bottles at the stage going, yeah, we want to hear Zeppelin, we want to hear this, we want to hear that. So that's kind of the biggest hurdle is getting that first record out and the second record out, and getting a body of work that people want to come out and see. And those songs are as much a part of their lives as some of the bands you grew up with. So, and that's kind of a big hurdle that you get over. And then once you get rolling on that, it's you get that body of work and a lot of stuff to play in concerts.
Yeah, it's absolutely fascinating. I host some shows down here in Southern Ontario, so I see a lot of the local bands that are really, really good that are just trying to make that break. But it must have been much different for you back then, and going back almost 50 years starting this, and then to what it is today, where you can kind of just put something on Spotify and it's out there,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, yes and no. I talk to friends like Alex Lifeson's a dear buddy, and
Yeah.
he said, Tom, you know, we talk about the fact we lived through the golden age, and where yeah, I mean, you know, the downside of what we went through was things were controlled very much by record companies, and you know, everybody knows the stories of the hitmen and radio and all that, and it's, you know, a lot of that has changed, but the problem is the model's sort of broken, so it's harder. I think it's harder for kids starting out to make a living at it. And to
I do too.
You know, but by the same token, it's easy for broken social scene. My buddy Kevin Drew, for instance, to book gigs in Germany or Switzerland or all over the world, and the kids tend to network that way, and you know, but they go to those places and they're sleeping on couches and sleeping on floors, you know, of other artists, right? So it becomes a network of you know, and sort of a camaraderie, and people stick together that way. So I mean, it has its upside there, but I think that the whole music side of it in general, the recording and getting the music out to radio and getting it heard, we had a model that worked. Sometimes it was corrupt. Sometimes
Sure.
you know, you got ignored when you might have, you know, done something that was really relevant, but there still was a model to work with. So you know, you persevere and put one foot ahead of the other, one song ahead of the other, and before you know it, you've got a body of work and you've got a career.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. Yeah, that's very interesting. Do you think that that your break is when you met Red Rider?
Well, you know, I think what Red Rider did for me, it was a consortium. You know, I think bands, when there's a safety in bands, but you know, there's a lot of downside to it. There's a lot of compromise that takes place. But I think that with Red Rider, it was, yeah, I mean, it was excuse the pun, a very good vehicle for the work I was doing, and you know, the band was, you know, really a band of really good players that I learned from, because, you know, in the beginning I wasn't terribly professional, so it helped to work with a lot of guys that, you know, and learn from guys that were doing it in a different way and had been doing it a while. And yeah, it definitely was, yeah, a good vehicle for my work and for the songs I was writing. And you know, there's some, you know, like Kenny was a brilliant player, you know, just an amazing guitar player in that band. So, you know, there's a symbiotic, there's chemistry that happens.
Sure.
And, yeah, we had it going pretty good there for a while.
I think there's a lot of people here in Toronto that they love the story that you met them at the Elma Combo, which is interesting, and that's why it holds still with a lot of people in Toronto here. It's just because the Elma Combo is still going. It still has that a huge history of people that perform there, and knowing you the way you are today, that happened, that at one point in your life you walked into the Elma Combo and hooked up with Red Rider is very fascinating. Yeah,
I mean, it was one of those rooms. It definitely was a cultural touchstone.
Yeah.
So it's great that they've the Wickersley has revived it, and now it's quite a good venue for streaming and doing, you know, live recordings and that. So it was yeah, I saw those guys downstairs at the Elma Combo and was considering getting to another band at that point. And then, you know, I was really intrigued with the work they did and chatted with those guys, and you know, we hit it off, and I auditioned at Fryfogels in London, another kind of cultural touchstone that no longer exists. And yeah, decided, you know, we agreed to agree, and I joined the band, and you know, the rest, as they say, is music history.
The rest is definitely music history. I mean, a lot of hits came out there, like Lunatic Fringe, Victory Day, Human Race, Boy Inside the Man, White Hot, and Big League, of course. Everybody loves Big League. But and then you broke out on your own.
Yeah, well, you know, it's funny, a bit of a parallel with Tom Petty, I guess, because at the time, unbeknownst to me, relatively the same time, he came out with Full Moon Fever, and kind of a similar scenario. You know, it was I think he was working with Mike Campbell, but then Jeff Lynne and that, and I, you know, and I decided, you know, I wanted to do this record and do it on my own, and wanted Kenny involved, but you know, Kenny didn't really see eye to eye with a bunch of the songs, so I kind of
Yeah.
Did it on my own, and it became the Tom Cochrane record. 3 records prior to that were Tom Cochrane and Red Rider, so we had already made that change where it was sort of a recognized that I was a key songwriter and the front guy.
Yeah.
And the guy singing the song. So it wasn't a big departure, but it was it was a different record, and obviously took things up a whole notch in terms of popularity and exposure to a lot more people.
Well, for sure. I mean, you released Life is a Highway, Mad, Mad World. I mean, you've won a lot of awards, a lot of Junos, and very much recognized, sold a lot of albums on your own as well as with Red Rider, yeah.
Yeah, it's been a good ride. I mean, the whole that record was just a whole other level, though. It just kind of, I remember, Dean Cameron, who was the president of the record company at the time, God rest his soul, he died a few years ago, but he said to me, Tom, it's closer to 2 million, that record. So, pretty amazing, to sell 2 million in a country the size of Canada. That's 1 in 15 at that point in time, that would have owned the record in Canada. So that's pretty amazing.
Yeah. And the music still heard all over the place today on any classic.
Yeah. All over the world. I was nominated for a Grammy for Life's a Highway, which was an honor, and it was the records just kept going. And obviously, when Rascal Flatts and Chris Ledoux covered it, a lot of people don't know that he had sort of a mid-chart country hit with it. Then Rascal Flatts covered it and took it to a whole other level again. So not many songs have the chance to be a hit 2 or 3 times,
No, not at all. Or have a highway named after it. I mean, that's pretty amazing too, going into your old hometown there.
Yeah, that was a really great honor to get the to get the Order of Manitoba and then have them name a highway after me in the song from Thompson to Lynn Lake, Manitoba. I don't know, 280 kilometers or something long, and it was a big honor.
That's a huge honor, and I love that it's happening. I love that you're coming back to Toronto. Just one quick question, before I let you go. I mean, you talk a lot about being inspired by Bruce Springsteen, and one of the things I loved, and something I heard you talk about before, was that you got up on stage and did an extended version of Twist and Shout with Bruce Springsteen. Was that the first time? How did that feel like? I mean, this is your inspiration, and now you're sharing a stage with him. How was the energy for you?
Yeah, I mean, it was an honor, and he's one of the. I've often said you don't want to meet your heroes a lot of times, right? You'd be disappointed, but he was anything but. He's just the way you'd hope he'd be, and he's just a down to earth, good guy. Yeah. And the way you'd want him to be. I mean, he's like a big kid. He got off stage and he's laughing, and he's like a 15-year-old jamming in the garage with his friends.
For sure.
That's kind of the energy he captures, even though he might be in front of 30 or 40,000 people.
Yeah.
And anybody does a 15-minute version of Twist and Shout. Then I found out later too, it was one of the first songs that he learned in a band, so that was kind of cool.
Oh, you're kidding.
To do that song with him, yeah. And I just really respect the guy. I mean, he kind of took the whole troubadour thing. It's like Bob Dylan, and James Brown's Love Child.
Yeah. Oh, that's
incredible
great.
Showman. He took that to a whole different level and showed everybody how it could be done. But the music was really down to earth and just basically great songs. Really energetic songs and songs that really, again, kind of explore the different cultural landscape of America. And so, he was a big inspiration, not just for me, but a generation of musicians to show us that you could get on stage and not be navel gazing. You could get out there. You could make the show. Give it this kind of energy, this high voltage that nobody had really seen with that kind of music.
Not at all. No.
It's great. Yeah, he was a big inspiration.
It's great. It's like a takeaway for me in talking to you and seeing your career over the years, like literally since I was a young man in high school. The thing is, it's like you're one of those artists. It just seems like, no one's going to tell you no. It comes from your heart. You do it, you produce it, and it gets out there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you know, I think highway, it became very apparent that music, in a sense, we're therapists as artists, songwriters, as musicians.
For sure.
And you're a therapist first and foremost to yourself. You know, you try to get something off your chest. You try to feel better by writing a song and you know, and getting certain ideas and feelings, purging yourself of those, and then hopefully it resonates with other people. And Life's a Highway is a good example of that. You know, it resonated with a lot of people, put a lot of smiles on people's faces. It was therapeutic for people.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just feel really privileged that I was the guy that wrote it.
Yeah, absolutely. It everybody has the feels when they hear that, and I love it. We crank it all the time at the radio station. Saturday we're doing 1 hour of Tom Cochrane, and just setting up this show for the 31st. What are we expecting on the 31st? Are you coming in with the band? Are you doing an acoustic? What's happening?
No, this is a band. This is going to be a high voltage. You know, we're going to kick off the new year with a ton of energy and try to inspire people and send them on their way into 2024. And it's going to be high voltage. We'll probably do a little. You know, I love doing an acoustic break. I mean, you know, we talk about Springsteen, but Neil, I think, as a template for my life and career is a pretty important one from the point of view that Neil, nobody rocks out like Neil, and nobody writes folk song like Neil. Nobody writes a ballad on acoustic guitar like Neil, and he's always managed to juggle both. And Bruce Springsteen has as well. And you know, I look at that for my career. You know, I love doing both. I love doing, you know, playing acoustically. I love doing a whole show acoustically, but I also love doing an electric show and then maybe breaking it up a little bit by throwing in 2 or 3 acoustic songs. And so I'll continue to do that live with the band as well. And but no, we're going to party that night. We're going to have a great time, and like I said, we're going to send people into 2024, hopefully with big smiles on their faces. I
love that. Tom Cochrane, a Canadian icon, with the band and a few acoustics and a few little goodies there. You can't ask for a better way to ring in 2024 than being right in Toronto, right at the Great Canadian Casino Resort. Plus, it's a new casino.
Yeah, it's a new casino. I hear the venue is just going to be outstanding.
Yeah.
We played Fallsview a couple of months ago, maybe a month and a half, 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And what an amazing venue. And I hear this one's going to be, you know, fabulous as well at Woodbine, so that's great.
Yeah.
And then we jump on a plane and do a private show in Halifax on New Year's Day. So it's fun. You know, I'm not slowing down too much yet.
No, it doesn't sound like you're slowing down at all. It sounds like the pedal's on the metal, even though, you know, the years have gone by with the great music. You're just out there performing right till the wheels fall off, and I love that.
Yeah, brother. You know it.
Yeah. Tom Cochrane, it was great talking to you, man. We will see you December 31st, New Year's Eve, with Tom Cochrane and the band, and all the best to you.
You bet. Same to you, Jay. Season's greetings to everybody out there, and we're really looking forward to it. We're really looking forward to rocking out on New Year's Eve. It's going to be great.
It's going to be great. Tickets at Ticketmaster for that one, and I will be there, and this is going to be the greatest time. My probably best time of 2023, no lie, and I can't wait to go into 2024 with.
Awesome, buddy. Well, hopefully you'll bring us on stage.
I would love to do that, Tom.
All right, Jay. It'd be my pleasure. That'd be great.
That would be great. All right, Tom, I will see you at the casino New Year's Eve, my man. Thank you for everything.
Okay, man. Thank you so much. Talk to you later.
Ciao.
Bye. We'll see you there.